Obinwannem Ofu Global Cultural Movement Foundation. Our mission: to restore the honor and dignity of Igbo nation and its citizens, to restore the pride of Ndi Igbo through the re-establishment of our self-esteem in the true spirit of love and support for one another, to ensure that our past trials and tribulations are turned into a glorious future, to rebuild the strength of Ndi Igbo through her bond of unity, to ensure that Igbo nation reinvent herself and get back on track in order to regain her pride of place in the world, to reinvigorate the ingenuity of Ndi Igbo through self-rediscovery and self-actualizations, to see that no Igbo child or citizen is left behind in the grand scheme of things. For inquiries, call Director Nwachineke Ugu Okechukwu, Ukraine on +380 975 221413. Obinwannem Global Radio, promoting the culture and traditions of Igbo nation. Obinwannem Global Radio, the unity of culture of Igbo nation.
From the streets of Hamburg, across the deep blue sea, a message for the children, for you and for me. Obinwannem is calling, can you hear the sound? The roots of our fathers are being found. We know they forget where we come from, the strength of a lion, the beat of the drum. We achieve restoring the culture, that's what we believe. From the Ordinala to the Azusu we speak, lifting the fallen, helping the weak. Obinwannem worldwide, the movement is here. Igbo Global, raise your head high, raise your head high. Our men will never, ever die, ever die. It's more than a page, it's a spiritual home. No matter how far in this world you roam, we're bringing back the wisdom, the tradition, the grace, putting the smile back on the Igbo face. A high energy. Please. Protect the culture. It's in our hands. Follow the light, follow the way. Obinwannem is leading the day. Keep the fire burning, keep the language strong. This is where we all belong.
Again, it fades out with a final celebration.
Obinwannem Global Radio, promoting the culture and traditions of Igbo nation.
Igbo Igbo ekelekwa m unu taa. na ụbọchị nke taa anyị nọ na ụlọ ọrụ anyị bụ ụlọ ọrụ ndị Obinwannem Media Company nke dị na Enugu na Nsụka kwa. Tata o nwere nnukwu nna anyị na ya nọ tata ga-akọwara anyị ọtụtụ ihe nke ndị anyị kwesịrị ịma na ihe ndị anyị ga-esi na ya wee mụta ihe n'ala Igbo bụ ihe gbasakwara omenala na ka obodo si wee dị. Mana tutu anyị aga n'iru, aga m ebu ụzọ ka nkọwa onwe m wee metụkwanụ ọjị maka na Igbo nwere usoro esi aga. Mụ onwe m nọ na n'olu ya bụ Ada Nsụka. Aga m nwere ọjị anyị nwere ugbu a, anyị ga-ebu ụzọ chere nnukwu nna anyị ọjị. Ya mere na ka m burugodo ọjị bunye nnukwu mmadụ anyị na ya nọ ebe a ka o chere anyị nna anyị ukwu. Nna anyị enwetakwa ọjị ka ya ichere ndị bịara be anyị.
Igbo bụ Igbo, ekenere m unu. A na-asị ọjị ọha maka eze His Royal Highness Igwe Dr. Ambassador Patrick Chukwuemeka Okolo Chukwu wee eze one of Mbunano Ancient Kingdom, eze Igwe one of Nsụka. Ọjị abịara
na-egosi
ọha egosila m na ọjị ya bụ ọjị ọha. Igbo bụ Igbo, Igwe ọjị ọha
nwadọrịa nwoke mbịa wara anyị ọjị a na be anyị na Nsụka na nwata na wa ọjị okenye wago maba wara m ọjị
Igbo
Igbo bụ Igbo, anyị jikwa ọjị ekele m nwoke kele nwaanyị, ndụ nwoke ndụ nwaanyị. Ọjị bụ osisi dị n'iwu Chineke sịrị anyị bụ na Hibru anyị were na-ekene ụtụtụ ihe anyasị. Ọgwa ya ka m ji n'aka na-akpọku ozi chite oke abịama ka ọ bịa n'Obinwannem redio steshọn, bịa n'ọrụ anyị n'oge awa wee nye onye ọbụla ndụ na arụ ike na ihe eji ele ndụ anyị. Ọ bụkwa ọjị ịgwara anyị, ọ dị n'akwụkwọ nsọ na Psalm 150 chapter 1 verse 1. Ọzọ anyị were ọjị a na-enye ya ekele ụtụtụ ihe ya sị ihe na ọ bụ ya bụ Chukwu kere anyị bụ mmadụ. Chọọ anyị na-akụ aka, na-achị ọchị, na-agba egwu, were opu ike, were une. Ụmụ nwaanyị anyị na-alụ alụ welite obi elu nye ndị ha, maka nwaanyị were obi nye di ya enweta ọnọchie, ada nyeta ọnọchie n'ụzọ na ewelite obi elu nye ọgaghị enweta ọnọchie. Ebe akwụkwọ nsọ gwara anyị were na ọjị a na-akpọku m ụbọchị niile. Biko lekwa ọjị Chukwu ka bịa ma ka m ji arịọ na ndị ọrụ oyibo nọ n'ebe ọbụla ị nọ ụgwọ ọnwa na promoshọn. Ebe onye nọ nwere aka ọrụ ọrụchasị kwụ anyị ụgwọ. Onye ahịa bụ ọkpọbọ olechi ori uru. Ha bụ ndị eze nọchiri anya Jizọs Kraịst, maka Jizọs bụ eze ka eze, ma ọ bụ anyị bụ eze na-echere ya obodo. Unu lee ya na akwụkwọ nsọ na Baịbụl bụ ya bụ akwụkwọ ndụ. Ife dị ebe a bụ First King, Second King, Prophet, nke nọ bụ clergy. Mana ndị clergy anagwụrụ anyị ọnọdụ na-prọfesaiz na-eme ife niile. Mana agwakwa na ebe arụ ụnụ ka abụkwa ndị eze nwe, ndị na-eje ụka ọ bụ anyị nwe. Ma ebe arụ ụnụ ka ọ bụ anyị nwe, nsị ndị ụka enyechi unu onyinye unu lụta ndị eze nyekwa ya ji na ọkụkọ rienụ nke ọzọ si nye bụ ihe anyị ka anyị soro na-eme. Maka ibe anyị nọ n'obodo bụ ịga ọhụ ka obodo dị mma, ka udo dị. Ụmụ anyị onye ọ dịara mma ọ bịa kedu eze a na-agụ bịagadena 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 nna nna bịagadena 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 nna. Onye ọ dịara mma rutere eze unu tụọ m eze igwe ọ bụrụ na-egwebego nkịta
eze igwe.
Ọkwa ọjị a ka m ji na-arịọ Chukwu abịa ka ịkwalite ọnọdụ Obinwannem redio steshọn a, maka ọ bụ mbido ọfụ ka ha na-ebido. Vuere ụzọ kpere hazi ndị nchuchu ama bịa ebe ha nọ, ndị njụ, ndị ụyara ala aka ga-ebi ihe n'ala. Ya ọ na ha kwuru ụgwọ niile ga na-anụ ya. Enyemaka ga na-esi ebe dị iche iche abịa wee kwado ha ka nwee ike kwụzido. Na-arịọ na Naijiria anyị nọ n'ime, biko ndị na-achị anyị gbaa ha ume, nye ha amamihe ka elekweta ndị a na-achị.
agụ egbugo mana na Naịjirịa abụghị ihe ziri ezi ma Chineke fụrụ Naịjirịa n'anya anyị ikuku anyị dị iche ala anyị dị iche mmiri anyị na-anwụ dị iche ife niile anyị na-enwe Chukwu fụrụ anyị n'anya mana ndị na-achị anyị achị isi afụtara ebe ha nọ biko tinye akọ na uche ka ha lekwesị ndị a na-achị anya na-arịọ ka na anyị ga-ata ọjị a n'ụtụtụ a tata ndụ tata nghọta maka nghọta ka bụ nke mbụ maka na nghọta na okwu amada na Naịjirịa okwu amada dị na nwunye ọmada nwanne na nwanne ma ihe na-eso okwu bụ aghọta gị na-arịọ ka na anyị ga-ata ọjị a n'aha gị site na Kraịst onye nwe ekele m unu
Igwe
eze igwe one of Nsukka.
ekele m
a makeup of the
none daalụ nọ daalụ mmewurugwa kilo a na-adị mma na
geographical makeup of Biafra, as far as you are concerned, this Biafra that you want. So, for example, if we're doing a referendum, where will that referendum take place? Is it only the 5?
It's on, no.
It's okay.
It's on, which is River State, Bayelsa, Delta, Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Ebonyi, Cross River.
Akwa Ibom?
And Akwa Ibom, of course. Akwa Ibom, yes.
Right.
Those are the coasters. Basically,
Bayelsa?
yes. Southeast and South-South without Edo State.
Without Edo State.
That's correct. And then including Igede, Idoma.
Right, the Benues. So
That's
the
correct.
Igalas and part of the
Absolutely.
Kogi,
Yes.
Kogi
Yes.
State, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very consistent. They are now beginning to speak the language of IPOB. That is the only way I can put it.
Amen.
There is nothing contained in what Tiwa Danjuma said or Paya Dabanjo that we have not said on Radio Biafra before. The Janjaweed are coming in from the north, as I told you that they will come. They are strangling us economically, socially, and culturally, as I told you they would. I also told you that if you serve the zoo, you will come back in shame. Yes. Is that not happening?
It's happening.
On a mess.
Yes.
On a man.
On daily basis.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So even those who never believed before, now they believe in what we are doing. The message from Baltimore today to the whole world and those who are unfortunate to be in the zoo is this: that what IPOB is fighting for is for the betterment of everybody.
Yes.
Of everybody currently, or should I say presently, we must set those people free. For us to be completely free, we must set others free as well.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're doing. And I'm glad to say that their senses are now coming back. They are now realizing that what those miscreants are saying or have been saying for very many years is reality after all. But you know them, shame won't allow them to come out. I see IPOB as that rejected stone, isn't it? They said we can never be useful. And today they are waiting for this broadcast so they can learn something new.
Yes. Of course. They don't have a choice.
So they can learn something new. And you are the reason why I travel all over the world, very proud, determined in this very field.
Of course.
Because sometimes I say to myself, why must we continue? Amongst us. People who don't understand the divinity of this very message. Biafra restoration is spiritual.
Yes.
It's not temporal.
Yes. Forever.
That is something that we need to appreciate and understand.
Yes.
Biafra restoration is not a franchise. Only a shop, it's not about that at all.
Never.
I have nothing until Biafra comes. As I said to Elohim in the oath I took at the temple in Jerusalem,
Yes.
that I will have no earthly possessions
Never.
until Biafra is restored. What we are doing here is not a business, is not a franchise. What we are doing within IPOB is the calling of God Himself.
Yes, that's true. It's true. It's you.
And that is why our enemies, regardless of the vast resources at their disposal, they are the ones who are panicking. We are not panicking.
Never.
We know where we are going.
Of course.
They can nominate person and a baby and then I pay because the Zoom was full.
Yes.
I promise the Fulani that I will break Nigeria into pieces. It will no longer exist as an entity.
Omega.
It doesn't matter what they do. It's a proclamation that will come to pass because anything I say behind this microphone comes to pass. I said everything. Even when I said I'll sacrifice my parents, I didn't know what I was saying. It has come to pass.
Yes.
That is the way it works with us. Those who are in the flesh will not understand what we are doing.
Yes, of course.
They said you people are impossible to bring together. You hate yourself.
They are clowns. Clowns.
And within 24 hours, in a far-flung place from DC, this is the number of people who are here. That is confirmation that we not only love ourselves,
Always.
that we are determined to restore Biafra.
Yes.
Absolutely determined. They used to say to us that these people cannot come together.
Okute tiri na abụọ.
Food in Africa. The food is worldwide.
Ị na-anụkwa ọnụ m? Ah,
Yes, yes, I'm hearing you.
Mr. Mike, you look so good and so.
Wow. Is that Mr. Mike Arnold?
That's me.
I thought it's a high chief from Igbo land.
Yeah, I was surprised, man. He just surprised us here. You look so
It's great to see you, Mr. Mike Arnold.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okute, you have to, coordinate everything and let everything be in order. But first of all, we have to introduce ourselves and let the whole world knows who we are, and especially our beloved Biafrans and our also beloved Oduduwa and Arewa, and those people that is agitating for the freedom of all nations that is under the bondage right now. So on behalf of them, at least we have to let the whole world know that we are here for peace and love and unity.
Amen.
So I will start by myself, introduce myself. My name Mazi Ugu Alexander Okechukwu. I am from Amaji Umakashi, Nsukka, in Enugu State. Enugu State is in Biafra land, and we are agitating for the freedom of our people. We are trying our possible best to let the whole world know that we want freedom, and I believe that all the countries that have a human right and the conscience of human right I believe they will understand what we are trying to do. I'm based in Hamburg, Germany. As I'm working in IT company, and I am also the founder and the leader of Obinwannem Foundation Worldwide and Obinwannem Limited Liability Company. We are trying to promote our culture and our tradition, and also agitate for the freedom of our people and voice for those people that cannot voice out. And I am here today with Mr. Mike Arnold, a man that is stood like us, a man that tried all possible best to make sure that also humanity hear from the people like us. So I'm here today with happiness and joy with my brother, and others are going to join us. So I believe that as you're watching, try to share this platform program so that our people will come and learn and see where we can help ourselves. So thank you all, and thank you, Mr. Mike Arnold, for honoring my invitation to be here. I say thank you so much. Everything that we are going to do here is for just humanity, because we are believing in the one love, one soul, and one family. That's what we believe. So thank you. I'm going to welcome my brother, my father, to introduce himself and also for you to know who he is. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Obinwannem Ofu Worldwide. Thank you, Mr. Mike Arnold. Thank you for being here today with us. My name is Ikuku, Power of God, but I'm called 12 covenant stones, 12 stones, because indeed I believe I am a covenant child. I was born a Biafran child. I was born in Ikuku camp during the Biafran genocide, and can say I'm born in a million survivor, because at about that, a million or more children perished while the world was watching, and it's still the same drama lingering. So personally, I'm based in Hamburg. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm also a founder of a Pan-African Sports and Culture Club for Integration called New Rangers. Our slogan says one for all and all for one. In German, we say Eine for alle, alle for eine. So, and it's my delight. And I've been watching our friend here, Mr. Mike Arnold. I see him one spirit of one for all, and all for one. That is humanity for religion. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And like today is Nkwo Day, that is the air day. We call it the day of the air. Let the air of wisdom, knowledge, and power. Let the air of positive energy. Let the virtue that we are going to utter here go forth. Like our God promised in the beginning, same yesterday, today, and forever. So we uphold his word, but then before the day for us to glorify it. Thank you, my people, for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here. I'm highly honored to be received in such a way. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Stone. Thank you so much, 12 Stone. 12 Stone. Thank you so much.
You have a new hat on.
We are,
you couldn't let me be the only one, could you?
No, I want to look like you. I want to be happy. You know, when I'm looking to my father, I'm so lovely. You know, I just want to look like you. That's why. Okay. You are going to win me on this, man.
We can keep going. I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, our culture is so much good. Our culture is a culture that everybody wishes to, you know, emulate. But and that is why we are here. That is why this platform is here, to promote our culture, Igbo culture, and to promote their languages, and also the way of their life, because many people have misleaded the way of the Igbo lives. You know the history, you know how Igbo people react. Igbo people, we know ourselves by hard working. But today, a lot of things have transpired. So, Mr. Michael, in our country, Mazi Mike, you have to introduce yourself and tell my audience and my family all over the world who you are and why you are here today. They are going to be joyful to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm a simple guy from a small town in Texas. In 2010, I couldn't have found Nigeria on a map, but I was invited to accompany a friend who was going to be leading keynoting a ministry leadership conference in Owerri. And I met the organizer, a amazing man, ended up being my mentor, my papa, Professor John Ofwebu, from a little village outside of Owerri. And he was, I have to say, he was the earth shaker. I carry his mantle that he put on me in his village. And I traveled to Nigeria now a total of 16 times, so much of it in my beloved, what I consider my second home, which is the Delta region, from Owerri, Port Harcourt, Aba, Umuahia, all through there. I've been to Bukuma, the island. That is where I feel at home, and the values, the character, the culture, the family, the faith, the entrepreneurism, the unruliness. I love it. I relate, and I believe that those are the characteristics, the people that are destined for greatness. The personal characteristics, the values that made America great are very hard to find in America these days, but I see them there. And I see them wherever I find your people. Well, I would say our people, but I can't get away with that because I don't have the DNA. But it's my adopted people that I've been adopted by.
Yeah.
And all over the world, wherever you go, you're the most successful, educated, but not in a predatory way, in a productive way, in a positive way, in a patriotic way. The world needs more of that, and that's what I'm aiming for. My first trip to Nigeria, it was a shock. I didn't know what to expect, and I have to admit, the first week that I was there, I felt sorry for you because of all the superficial things, all the things that we take for granted here, that are lacking there. The smooth roads, the electricity, you call the police and they come and they do the right thing. Those kind of things that you lack, that we take for granted. I thought were important, and I felt sorry for you. But it was not long before it turned around and I started feeling sorry for Americans. Because the opposite, all the things that you take for granted that we lack, all those traits, the family, the honor, which is a word Americans don't even understand. They don't understand what it means. They've never seen it. They've never felt it. Honor, integrity, family, community, passion, hope, entrepreneurism. That's why I feel sorry for America, because we may have the superficial things, but we lack the things that built them to begin with. We lack the meaning and the heart. And I've begged you to send missionaries to us because we need them. But on that first trip, God told me, and I believe it with all my heart, that what man has long called the dark continent, God is raising up to be the continent of light in our generation. We're going to see a radical transformation. And I believe that breakout point is Nigeria, specifically that region and there are points all over. And that's where I want to talk to my friends that don't be so exclusive. Reach out. There are other points of light. There are other people that have the same yearning, the same longing, the same desire, but across the nation that we call Nigeria. But I believe you're the epicenter. I believe that your tribe, your region, your culture needs to be and will be the breakout point for a global revival. And I want to be a part of that. And so I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to contribute to the cause any way that I can. And you have my undying commitment to that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. Thank you so much for knowing a lot of things that makes us happy also, because your story and why we are here is almost the same. We are moving together. We believe in things together because we believe in humanity. That is all, and we believe that all those things we are facing now is just for a short time, and we need a very strong voice and very strong team that are going to speak it in a way that the whole world will hear from us. So I have to invite Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone, if you have any question to ask Mr. Mike, then go ahead and ask questions so that if we're able to answer, we'll be answering it one by one. Thank you. Unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mike Arnold. Thank you. Please, I don't possible.
We don't hear you. We don't hear you. We don't hear you. What is your phone is not sounding well?
Really? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we are hearing you. Just raise your voice more. Just raise your voice. That is all.
Then I was even asking that you can raise the mic a little bit, because it was also deep when Mr. Mike Arnold was talking, so that a little bit louder if it's possible. If not, I can speak like this. I have a strong voice too, you know.
Yeah, that is strong. That strong voice is what I want now. Because your phone is like maybe the problem, but
so thank you,
Mr. Mike, very well.
Thank you, Mr. Mike Arnold, and your story is very interesting. By the way, I learned you are the ex-mayor of Blanco, Texas, right? We are connected because they say through us all nations are blessed. My family and my generation have directly been a blessing to Texas, Illinois, Illinois state of Texas. So my cousin was director of studies at Illinois State University. He's been there ever since, for a very long time. And one of his daughter played national team of, I think, basketball national team. My own daughter is now Deutschland handball national team too. So through us, all nations have been blessed. We are the world, like they said, Africa and USA. So I think it's the appointed time for us to connect together. Without wasting your time, go direct to the business of the day, which is about the bondage in Nigeria, the contraption where they started to beat us, and the children yelling, everybody crying. We are asking God when is it going to come? What offense have committed? Why have the entire world, turned their back against us? And this thing started from the time I was born, like I told you, away from my original home, close to Enugu. That is directly overlooking Enugu, a small mountain, where my parents ran away to Ogu. In IDP camp, that was where I was delivered during the war, 121267. So, and up until now, I think I've been watching with the unfolding event, almost all the tribes who ignorantly allowed themselves to be misled by those 1966 1960s coup plotters, counter coup plotters who deceived the people, and they are still alive today. God is keeping them alive to confess, because He delights not buying of sinners, but their repentance and forgiveness. So, unfortunately, Nigeria is a land where natives are being honored. This bunch are those who are called those who own Nigeria today. So, the whole tribes who ignorantly joined or became willing vessels to use on that vision, all of them, the voice is telling me, look at the region, they are all in IDP camp today. We are by no means rejoicing about it, because it tells us to mourn when our neighbors mourn and rejoice with them when they rejoice. So we are truly mourning, because we are forgiven. We are no longer in the grave. The Biafrans are no longer. 5 million were unalive. But of us is the 20th generation of Christ. So my first question to you, Mr. Mike Arnold, is why is Christian unaliving? We call it, we use it because of censor, buying. You understand what we mean when we say buying? Eh? That is to unalive. So why is the Christian alliance in Southeast not mentioned? There is little or no awareness of the Christian alliance in the Southeast and Biafra land, like that of Middle Belt, Plateau, Northern Nigeria. That is, instead, they try to paint a picture of a kind of insecurity, which we know is man-made, because it's the same script from Northeast that was passed down to the Southeast politicians, and they became willing vessels to create that confusion, to give dog a bad name, to buy him. That is the Biafra and the Biafra restoration. So why is it that the world is buying that this side, and they are looking the other way? They are doing little or nothing to address the direct truth about this confusion, just the same way they did in 1967, even at the time when Smero unalived himself in front of the United Nations. The world looked the other way. He kept mum, and until that genocide ended the life of innocent 5 million people. And they told them, my ignorance, declare no turnover, shall discover it today. And you and I knows the truth in the word of God. It says every drop must be accountable of that red water. So why is the world, why is America not directly? Is it that they are not well informed and they just choose to keep quiet, play along with the politics of the Nigerian system?
That's a good question, fair question. I'm going to approach it from a couple different angles, and I'm just going to be candid and I'm going to be truthful. First of all, most Americans, most people in the world, most of our elected officials couldn't find the nation of Nigeria on a map. That's just the reality. And so to ask about the internal, I know the reality. I know from where you sit, it's more than just an internal nuance. But for the rest of the world, here's a country we know nothing about. We don't know where it is. And you expect me to understand the internal nuance and politics and divisions within it? It's just not reasonable. It'd be like me asking you, why don't you care about my rival? We live in the city of Blanco, and 12 miles up the road is the city of Johnson City, and we have a rivalry in some ways. Why aren't you concerned about that? That is not. I'm not trivializing it, and I know that it's not. It's not apples and apples, but it's the same concept. The world, only part of the world, and only the people that care have only just now started to pay attention by the mere fact that, 190,000 people, about 120,000 of them or more being Christian, have been slaughtered. They don't know what region, they don't know whether it's north, south, east, west, central, or what, but they know that there's maybe a genocide taking place. That's the level of awareness of most people in the world, including most leaders and decision makers. So part of it is education. Part of it is self-inflicted. I'm online these days. I was never set out to be an influencer, but I guess God had other plans lately. I'll post something about ending the genocide. I'll post something about how bad the government is, something like that. And so many people get on there and all they reply is Biafra now, Biafra now, Biafra now, Biafra now. That's all they say. And nobody knows what that means. And stating your goal is fine, but tell me how you want to get there. What's your strategy? What's your plan? What are you trying to do? It pushes people away. So that's one part of the reality, but you also have to understand in the context of it, and I've been working to unravel it because it goes very, very deep. When I first started this advocacy and was not when I've been trying this advocacy for a very long time, but when the world started paying attention after the October 14th press conference, and I started, I was invited into some of these circles in Washington, and but the first instruction I got was, "Oh, don't mention Biafra. People will close their doors in Washington if you say that word." And I've seen that. I've experienced that. It's interesting. Behind the scenes, some of these same people. Well, I agree that they've been wrong that it should be separated, but they'll never say it because doors will close. And you start to dig into it. Well, those doors. First of all, there's a lot of lobby money, and there's a lot of deep state. The deep state thrives on division, destruction, and looting. The deep state wants to see you divided and conquered. The lobby wants to, but what I believe is driving that, when you really get down to it, is the British and their interests. We have a special relationship, and I'm pretty certain that the word's gotten out over the years. Don't say this stuff; it's their dirty secret. They didn't expect the world of social media. They didn't expect people to start paying attention and talking about this, and they've worked very aggressively from the time it was happening to now to suppress that truth. Because I did the math. They owe you about $6 trillion in reparations. That's twice their annual GDP of Great Britain. And if the truth ever came out and you ever got a voice and you ever got legal standing, you could take everything they have. Rightfully so, because they've stolen everything they have. You don't get to be the richest, most powerful nation in the world, but from an island off of Europe by being nice guys. It's a grand fraud perpetrated by the British and then continued by the globalists, the communists, and the radical Islamists. Okay, so there is a conspiracy against the truth and against righteousness, against goodness. That's the environment that you're in, and that's just the reality of it. We can look at it and analyze it and slice and dice it. The question becomes, what's the path forward? How do we achieve righteousness? How do we achieve autonomy? How do we achieve freedom? And that's the real question we should be asking. Not why are people not paying attention? They don't care. They don't know. And there's a lot of suffering in this world. There's a lot of oppression in this world. There's a lot of death in this world. And people just tune it out after a while. And so harping on that aspect of it is not the way forward, because people will just continue to tune it out because they live their happy lives in their happy homes, and they don't really care what happens overseas. They don't care what happens down the road. So you have to find the path that will make people care, that will harness the forces that are out there to achieve the good. Complaining about it is not the way. Pointing out the atrocities, while they're true and must be established and documented, and justice must be served, but that alone is not the way, because it happens everywhere. There has to be a path forward. And I'm gonna end the answer with this, and then we have, I'm sure, a lot more back and forth. and for your own people, the Israelites never left Egypt in hundreds of years, because just for the simple fact that it sucked making bricks. Pharaoh was a tyrant. They were oppressed. That didn't get them out of Egypt. They stayed. What got them out of Egypt was when they had the promise of the promised land, and they had a vision, and they knew that was where they were supposed to be. And they articulated that, and they talked about that. And then they said, okay, we want that. It wasn't, people can suffer until they die and never do anything about it but complain. But when they have a vision, without vision, people perish. When they have the vision of what it can be, what it should be, what's practical and what's real, that's when change comes. That's when the world can get behind you. People, I've learned this in sales. You may know this, or in fundraising, for example, because I raise funds for schools. People don't give to distress. People give to success. People don't invest in failure. They invest in vision and a future. And so what I'm trying to do and advocating for you and for your goals is say, stop complaining. Not that you don't have anything to complain about, believe me. But that shouldn't be the message. The message is what it can be. And that, to me, is what's gripping. That's what gripped my heart. Not seeing how bad it was, but seeing how good it can be. And I believe that messaging shift and that strategic shift must happen in the movement, or it will never get traction. And I believe there's time right now, historical window of opportunity right now, to bring dramatic change. And I'm talking about Donald Trump and his window of opportunity. He's a historic figure, for hundreds of years. And I'm telling you, I can validate and go into all the details, but here's the fact. He doesn't pick leaders. He doesn't create movements. And again, there's suffering everywhere. What he does is he backs leaders and he backs movements. And until there's that movement towards a positive vision and a leader that's saying the right things and not the ugly things, he's not going to get involved for your people. I believe he can. I believe he will. But we have to have a messaging change. We have to have leadership stand up and point to the promised land instead of pointing back at how bad Egypt is. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mike Arnold. Made a lot of sense, very powerful points. But the particular one that I took hold of is the source of the problem. That is religion. The source of the problem is our religious covenant history. The oath of Egypt, the truth, the oath over a lie. The oath over a lie that adopted the system of things that now is. So we all knew the history. Africa is the whipping child of the whole process.
Right. For centuries.
If you remember Genesis, he said when the world started, we were speaking one language and of one speech, and we are coming from the east. The prophetic East, until we started building towers to them. So personally, I must say that I stand with the spirit of one for all, of one, because in my family, I am black and white. That's why my first daughter is more fair in complexion than you. So we look not at the outer colors, but we are spiritual psychologists and see the heart. So religion is the root of that problem. I know America with the present administration, the previous one with our so-called, I call him a prodigal son, the Obama, was a deceit. But the present one, Mr. DJ Trump, is like on a divine mission, and we are still watching him with the 6 eyes. And his actions is also speaking louder than voice. It goes direct to the root of the problem in this present time. So this religion, my question surrounding it now is, it has been a deceit that is fashioned, or they call it device, that is fashioned against Africa, who are referenced as lost flocks in the whole scripture, because both Bible and Quran are representing one history. Then our problem started from the incident of the covenant. And then the whole scripture told us the body of Esau, and the voice of Jacob. Because after that out of Egypt, and adopting the system of things, they adopted images that were painted in the house of God. That made the difference. Now, if you're a Bible reader, you go to Galatians 4, 21 to 31. You see, it's a very powerful 10 verse that is telling us about the history and where the rain started to beat us. So he said it was referencing to the present day Jerusalem. He says it's in bondage with his children and correspond with Hagar, the Arabian woman. And we popularly believe in Africa that this body, voice of Jacob and body of Israel, that the Archebulan Africa is the black and white, the covenant man, the true father of the nation. But after that incident, that we sent the maid servant back to Egypt, then it anchored the generation of the Arabs. And that was about the time they came together, the leadership of the Western world. Who came with especially English and Arabic to take that oath that adopted this system of things that happens. Now, in that covenant, they didn't tell the generation the truth about the origin of religion and natural law. Rather, what we practice now is make believe. We have believers, Muslim believers, Christian believers, but we don't have people who know God and the truth in the Word of God. So my question now is, Mr. Mike Arnold, what can we do, political leaders, political and religious leaders of the world today? Because we have known that this thing we have bred is now becoming a threat to all of us. I believe that is what prompted the intervention of America in the first place, because and their leadership. Because after Iran, Nigeria, bondage Nigeria is the headquarters of that bad ideology that mislead the children to the point of losing their soul. Because the point of losing their soul is the point of when one wake up again and buy his brother. You understand? So that is the point of the deception, and the many generations have been bred to believe this theory. This is why they say to us, brother does not know brother, and they are buying themselves, and it's only happening in Africa. And without the intervention from the head that will come to agree to reform, just like Christ said, he come not to abolish the law, but to renew it. What can we do as a people, both political leaders and religious leaders, to bring about the renewal of this contraption so that we can set the captives free?
Excellent question. Couple different aspects to that. First of all, the church, and I don't use the small C church. I'm not talking about the building with the steeple on top. I'm talking about the body of Christ must clean house and have revival inside the church before there will ever be revival outside the church. There are wolves in shepherd's clothing that have become very prominent, and they feed on the sheep instead of feeding the sheep. They fleece the sheep instead of feeding the sheep. and they suck up the resources of the body of Christ. Did you know that the hoarded tithes and offerings of just the top 10 richest pastors in Nigeria could fully sustain all the recognized displaced Nigerians for a full year? That's money that was given sacrificially by Nigerian Christians to a man that claims to be a pastor to use to advance the kingdom. And instead, that pastor uses it to put in his bank account, buy jets, and build domes with golden roofs, with IDP camps just down the road, with widows and orphans dying. There's a cancer in the body of Christ today. It's called the prosperity gospel, and it must be eradicated. And it can stop immediately if Christians were to wake up and do what the Bible says and do the true religion of supporting widows and orphans and those in need. So the body is sick, and it's sick from within. And God does not desire that. And I don't believe that the church, the big C, the real body of Christ, will ever achieve revival until it takes care of itself first and gets healthy. And that must happen. Now, that's what the spiritually. And I believe that, and we're going to get deep here, everything that every human being has ever looked for, the motivation behind every pursuit of man is ultimately love. They're looking for love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, kindness, mercy. I mean, they're looking for the fruit of the Spirit. It is what it is. It is the one thing on earth everybody is born to crave, and there's only one way to find it, and that is through a right relationship with God through Jesus Christ, and living it and building communities based on that. The church in the book of Acts, where they modeled that, it was a magnet. It grew. It was unstoppable, and it still would be. Anytime that I see the church, let me give you an example. Our schools in Abuja, we have 3 campuses now. We have a 4th one under construction. We presently have 600 plus students, displaced children, both Christians and Muslims, that have nothing. And we're serving them, and we're reaching them, and we're making a difference. We work with the National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC. We have corpers assigned to us every year. And every year, every single one of them, sends a letter to their supervisor saying, please give me a different assignment. I do not want this assignment. Don't send me there. Every single one. At the end of their term, more than half of them beg to stay on staff. Please keep us here. We found what really matters. They may have a degree in marketing or in pre-law or in pharmacy, whatever it may be. And they have plans for a career and money and a house and all that stuff. And once they taste what true Christianity really looks like, really feels like, as humble as it is, they're willing to abandon all that to stay there. That is unstoppable when you can manifest the true religion of God. And it comes through selfless service. I had a pastor one time give a sermon, and it is still stuck with me all these 35 years later. And he said, sin is selfishness. Serving others is what God desires. When you stop serving and you start serving yourself, that's when you sin. And so Nigerians, there's so many, the culture, the people are so wonderful and have so much potential. But when it comes to churchy, I call it churchianity, it seems like most of the resources get sucked up by these dragons that sit on top of the gold, and they sow their seed in greed. They're told, you give money to this rich guy and you'll get rich too. And instead of giving it to this hungry person, they walk past the starving widow to go put the money in an offering plate so that that guy can buy another jet. It's delusional. It's psychotic. It's diabolical. But until that spell is broken, the church will never rise. Now, politically, here's how it needs to be done. And I believe this is the way. And I'm going to shoot straight with you because I love you. There is, because of that, hundreds and hundreds of years of oppression. Because of that, there's a mindset among many. I call it a colonial spirit. There's a stronghold that is like a ceiling. And to get above that, you have to somehow get crumbs off the table of a white man, that you need permission, you need help, you need resources, you need, and to have something better, you need to go where they are. Make this make sense. Wherever Nigerians, and most of them in the diaspora are from the South, wherever they go around the world, they become the wealthiest, most educated, prominent people. They succeed dramatically. Back home, you have abundant natural resources. Why aren't those same people building the greatest civilization on earth in their home? It should be. It was on track for that before Britain starved to death 3 or 4 million of your children. It was on track. Fastest growing economic region on earth 10 years in a row. It comes back to, I keep hearing this over and over and over. We just need help. We're gonna keep complaining until the white man comes and gives us what we want. That seems to be the strategy. And it fails. It's been failing for 55 years. What needs to happen is there needs to be an expression of church and an expression of governance that is uniquely Nigerian, uniquely African. And I believe it's possible. What I have proposed, and I've actually written with others an outline, a draft of a new constitution that is fair, free, equitable for all. And it speaks to all the downtrodden groups, not just you. There are so many downtrodden groups that are abused by this system, by this contraption. And it's a federation that's opt-in. It's a covenant federation. So each region can go their separate way. Absolutely. But if you want to stand together, it looks like this: human rights enforced vigorously, without impunity, justice, freedom, dignity for all. And that's the basis of a federation. And the regions get to opt in. And if you're a Sharia state, you're not invited. If you can't live up to this, you're not welcome. I believe that with a message like that and a vision like that, that all the downtrodden of Nigeria would stand together. I believe that. Win the peace, and then you can decide your future. Here's a practical reality behind that. Donald Trump does not pick leaders. He doesn't start movements. He backs leaders. He backed movements. I believe if a new constitutional vision were to emerge, what I would do is I would do a council of kings, get all the 500 some odd kings, and make sure that they're authentic ones. There are some that the government is stuck in there. Get them together, get them to vote on this constitution. And if it carries, ask the international community to recognize it. Ask Donald Trump to help you achieve it. And I believe you'll get it. I believe you'll get it. It's precedented. But without that alternative, without that momentum, without that alternative, there's nothing for the world to back. And just saying, let us go, let me tell you what that telegraphs, especially in the face of this genocide. That means we don't care if they're getting killed across the borderline. Let them all die. Just let us go. And I'm certain that's not what's in your heart, but that's certainly the message that comes across. Yeah, they're getting killed over there. Screw them. Let us go. That doesn't fly. And it never, I don't think it ever will. I could be wrong. It hasn't worked yet. Instead, reach out to those, stand together, not to form, be shackled into the same boundaries forever. No, stand together to uproot the contraption with all of those that are being killed by it. And they exist. I'm getting positive feedback from every tribe and every region on this idea. Positive, that want to do it. If Biafrans are what I know they are, and you know they are, should be the leaders of Africa, at least. It should be the most prominent nation. Act like it. Don't just say it's all about us. That's selfishness. Demonstrate your leadership. Demonstrate what you can do. Demonstrate your capability to lead. And I believe that the world will back you. But it has to not just be about your own little enclave. It has to be the reality that, yes, you're a part of Nigeria, whether you like it or not. Fix that, and then let. And I don't mean fix it as in you give. I mean tear down the evil, tear down the strongholds, and then you'll have peace to be able to go your separate way. And I think it can happen very fast. But there needs to be a change in strategy, and it needs to happen now. Otherwise, I don't see it ever happening.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Arnold. Your point is very, very clear, loud and clear. And I must say, on my own side now, you know, they say when the water starts to be clean from the head, it's clean till down. Our waters in Africa, they say our land is well situated, but the source of the living water is dirty. That's why it's consuming the children. The source of the living water in Africa is the leadership. So now we can see, like, for example, like CAF, like political leaders, and like religious leaders, they are based on the same feeders. So the best example we have in Africa in the leadership is Patrice Musepe from South Africa. We have seen where he have thrown the African or developing African football now from the Morocco Nations Cup. And the best we can scale they use to wear Africa in leadership politically is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which allegedly, or we have heard that America refused to publish his criminal records, and even when the judge in America said they should release it, the CIA said no, it's an asset in the hand of CIA because they know the battle, just like it's raging now. It is still between the leadership of Western and Arabs that took that out of Egypt. And then what the point you made that is very clear now, if we are ready, that is the question also I want to ask for reaffirmation. If we are ready now, because I know that we have that vision, then, but we don't have the support because of the devices of the wicked, because of this oath of Egypt that doesn't allow the power to return to the people. So if we are willing now to show you the way to help us, to actualize the freedom, the breaking of this yoke and bondage of Egypt, are you telling me that you can help us bring the attention of President DJ Trump to support us in the right direction? Because we know how to do it in a peaceful way. You understand me? Creating the awareness. The only thing, like I told you, we are in Africa. The only thing is to show them the way and create the brands that bring about the actualization of civil disobedience. I will cite one typical example. We have the same script, 101% with German. Bondage, Nigeria. The same script. German's case started 1939, ended 1945. And it was a case of dictators, extremists, who came and took over the law. We knew it. British, unfortunately, we call them order of hypocrisy, because they are the one who drew the wall to Deutschland to stop the extremists here in this part of it. And We all knew the history, how it happened. When he ended 45, 49, because there are those who believe in extremist way, they allow them to go to the one-party system. And that is exactly what is the system in Nigeria today. Now, from 49 to 61, almost every individual wanted to leave the zone. That was why they built Berlin Wall in 1961. And people were impoverished so badly until 1989, when the yoke became too heavy on them. The German folk, they rose up through a Monday demonstration. If you ask the history of Germany, Germany was restored through a Monday demonstration, which women and children were in front. And they occupied a foreign mission. We are making everything open, refused to leave the place, and they were making a demand. It's in the folk. We are the people, and power belongs to the people. They ask them what they want. They say they want that Berlin Wall, that Jericho Wall to collapse. And they didn't leave the street until it collapsed. So that was what brought about the Free State of BRD, Bundesrepublik of Deutschland, today. And they practice regional freedom with minister presidents. They have presidents free of their region. Like in Hamburg State, we have our president here. In Bayern, they have only one ceremonial president in the person of Walter Steinmeier. It's always like a high priest. And there's a healthy economic condition. We practice this same system way back, and in which the Biafrans, the East Central region, was the world's fastest growing economy. Before this, the wicked came with their device. That was after the July 6 coup. Then Gowon came, and after the genocide, he changed everything back to, this contraption. And maybe he's alive, but shedding crocodile tears. Now, he refused because of pride to confess. So now, why I'm saying all this is that there's this spirit. I've been passing this message to my people, but it's hard for them to hear. God is calling my people under the contraption called Bondage Nigeria to embrace 101% the German script, to find our foundation solid back to the original. In this way, we shall unveil patriotism automatically. And the patriotism gives birth to security. And that will bring about economic competition. I've been passing this message to my people. I started way back in 2000 with Paradise. During the Bloomberg drama, where they beat the Senator Ike Premka, I was the one at the center of the whole drama, because Kanonta, the junior brother of Mazi Kano, was on my side. I was the one they came to greet, and the Premad was. After the greeting, Kano asked a simple question. Nobody was very nice. This was an Igbo event. And then suddenly people shouted, the Premad go back, and they start to beat him. Then what I did was to, separate the fight. We snatched him and put him in that car. And later, the police came, we controlled the crowd with the police and brought him back to the hotel. Tuga, this foreign minister, present foreign minister of Nigeria today, he was in the car. He beckoned his assistant to call me to ask the police to bring him to the car. The police refused. They went with him with the police car. I was the one we brought out to the party. So our point is this. We are called to embrace the German spirit. When that thing happened, I called both of them, calling the leadership of IPOB and the Senator as the most senior Igbo politician. told them about this message that came since year 2000, World Igbo Peace Accord, that we shall renew our covenant with Almighty Chineke. That is 30th December every year. This will bring about the awareness and nationhood and the consciousness of how sacred our red water is. So after that message, they were still toiling around with it until what happened to both of them happened to both of them. So now, you make very powerful point. We are going to bring some good concept, vision that will, unravel this mystery, that will set the people free. But we need the support of the leadership. It's America. You now, as a former mayor, I regard you are a strong voice in America. You can speak out. I can see your spirit willing. You are concerned. I see in you like Bruce Merrill, late Bruce Merrill, peace be upon him. He was a so-called white boy, a youth, but the annihilation in Biafran land that pained him that the world was not real. He went in front of United Nations in New York and poured fuel upon himself and set himself ablaze. So I see you with that spirit. You are willing. You are like one with God. One with God is every human created in the image of God who stands one for and all for, regardless color, tribe, or religion. It is humanity first. And people ignorantly, they want to gain the whole world while losing their soul. So now we are bringing about the restoration. And it's America and Africa and the USA. So, and that bond is going to be between USA and USB. How we are going to go about it, we are not separatists. In fact, that's why the forces are against the East, because we are the root of the offshoot. And when you want to cut down a tree, you concentrate on the root. That's why that's happening. But at this point in time, we want you to support us, and we are asking, are you willing to really support us? From this our foundation, we can connect globally, we can make the shepherds noise, bring the people together, but we need the support of the powers. We are still very thankful of the little action, but our people are like, they are saying, they just came to see us because, but I told them that Trump knows what he's doing. He knocked at the direct source of the problem when he came to Nigeria. And to tell them to, and you can bear me witness that all those forces who are already swallowed the whole nation. From the 8 years of late giant of the Precision Mission in Nigeria, they have already overrun the whole place. But still, because it's a divine occurrence, the same point that they were defeated during the days of Obinwannem Ofu Obi, they conquered until Benue. And God sent bees. It was bees that stopped them at Benue. And yet the battle is yet still up to Benue, and with the awareness of Mazin, and that's why they winkled him, come to his point.
That is,
so now, please, can you clarify also to our audience how you are going to support us through our foundation? Because we have the concept, the vision of how to set my people free from this spiritual Egypt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm honored to stand with you. I'm honored to work alongside you on the path of righteousness, on the path that God leads. I keep interesting what you were talking about, the Berlin Wall and all that. I think of Poland. Do you remember the Solidarity movement that Ronald Reagan got behind and brought freedom to Poland in the same way? But it was the movement. It was the leadership that he backed. I work in real estate a little bit, and you can drive by a piece of property that has a rundown building on it, and you can drive by it 1,000,000 times, and as long as it's there, not it's just there, no one's going to go and tear it down and build something new until there's a blueprint, until there's a vision, until there's a plan, and then the bulldozers come out, right? And I believe from America's perspective, from Trump's perspective, he's a builder. He's the same way. If you look where he gets involved, Venezuela, it wasn't just that it was bad, but the people demanded a change. They rose up, and he backed them. Iran, it was the protesters being killed, I think, that ultimately compelled him. I'm not asking people to go out and get killed, but I'm saying the movement, the fact that there's something new that can be built. And that he's not going to have to he's not a nation builder. But he'll back a movement. And here's what I'm doing. And I would say that here's how we can stand together. I am putting forward this constitutional vision, and it's a framework, and it's a conversation. It's not here, take this. It's a conversation, but it's, and I'm creating the Africa Arise Alliance. And it is groups all over Nigeria and around the world that want to see what you and I are talking about. And it's not just Igbo people, as you say. It's humans. And there are people in the far north that would support this if they were given the chance to. Nobody hates Islam more than those who have to live under it. Just ask the Iranian people. The fastest growing church on earth is in Iran because they know how evil and how horrible it is. To the extent, though, that they finally stand up and flood the streets. And they get shot and they keep standing up and flooding the streets. The way to get it is to start to build it. To lay out the blueprint, to find all those people that say, yeah, we want to be part of that. And then to start building it. Yes, the other side will push back and resist, but then there's a movement, then there's unity, then there's people standing together and say, tear down this wall. And once that wall is torn down, I don't think that the average person anywhere in Nigeria, Biafra especially, and I don't have the ability to see what it's like on the other side of that. What does it look like when that is torn down? You might choose to stay together in a different format. So so what I keep saying is tear down the evil, win the peace, and then decide your future. But just saying we want separation is never going to happen. Well, I could be wrong. I don't see it happening if that's all you're saying. But if you're saying we all want equity, we all want peace, we all want prosperity, we all want freedom, we all want dignity, we all want to live our own lives and govern ourselves. We all want that. And you stand together like that, not saying, you control me, I control you, but we're united as human beings with this inborn yearning that God put in our hearts to be free. And we're putting aside the divisions that have been sown between us. We're not letting there's a spirit, another stronghold. Colonialism is one and tribalism is the other. Tribe should be family. It should be support. It should be culture. It should be vibrant. It should be love. It shouldn't be a fight. It shouldn't be I'm better than you, or and I've seen in the United States. I saw racism, inherent racism, disappear in one generation, and it's gone. I mean, the only ones that still harp on it are the ones that benefit from it, and they stir it up and they sow division. People must rise above that. Celebrate your tribe, but don't throw stones at the other. Celebrate them too. Get past that. The division, that hatred, the animosity is not from God, and it's not from your heart. It's been beat into your head. I'm not talking you personally. I'm talking to people out there. Find that vision that unites everybody, and it's there. It's freedom. It's love. It's peace. It's the kingdom come. Find that vision, articulate that vision, enlist others that share that vision, start to manifest it, and then you will get the attention and the backing of the world. I believe that's the path forward, and I believe that's the only path forward. and I am honored to be part of that. And it's not about me, but God has called me to this. I can't shake it, so I got to do it. But I'm working to build that alliance of like-minded human beings across Africa, across Nigeria, and around the world that want to see positive change. And I believe that in our lifetimes, we're old guys, you and me. This other guy is not so old. In our lifetimes, we will see that the continent of light start to be manifest, and all the pent-up growth that should have happened. I mean, just imagine. I mean, this is what I think we should daydream about, what we should talk about. Not what was taken, but what could have been. Biafra, according to Frederick Forsyth and a lot of statistics, was the fastest growing economic region on earth for 10 years running before the British cut your throats. The fastest growing. What would it look like today if that had continued? It blows your mind how incredible it could be and should be. And I believe God will restore that. I believe that God will restore that. But that's what must be what drives us. Not vengeance, not they suck, not this is horrible, not they beat us down, but yeah, they did that, but we're still going to build it. We still have this destiny, and let's stand together and let's build this. And let the world see what Africa looked like when you take the stranglehold off of our throats. That is what's going to do it, in my opinion.
Okay. What I have to say again on that point is the source of our problem is one. Yeah? And that source is that we have been treated like slaves. You know, a slave, you agree for slaves. Slaves have no right. You understand? That's how they treated us since 1914. During the amalgamation, they claim till today nobody, the Igbo people they are calling like later Wolowo, later Fabelewa, all of them are still in that age. They are not of age in 1914. So nobody signed the amalgamation for us. Then stretching to 100 years, that 2014 expired. They are now to the back door renewing it. Now, going down to the Constitution, we all know how it happened in 1999. I don't think Nigeria people come together to agree on this Constitution. Now it was one to Salam Abubakar. These are the people who derailed us as a people, and by extension, the entire Africa. They wrote this Constitution in hotel, even the comrade Obasanjo, who was used to appease the Yorubas after the snatching Abiola's mandate. He didn't see the Constitution, but we used to swear him after 1999. So, and testifying, people are telling that throughout the Constitution, it's all about Sharia. Eh? They didn't even mention much about Christianity, not to talk of the original tradition of Africa. So we are not entirely not represented, even in that Constitution. Then, going further, I think that contraption is a device. You remember the scripture saying, do not be ignorant of the devices of the wicked. It's a device. Just like the name Nigeria is also a device. You know, when the British came, they came for business. That was why they named Ghana Gold Coast, named the Nigeria Royal Company. Then the time when Ghana let Kwame Nkrumah as an indigenous son of the soil, renamed Gold Coast to Ghana. Then in Nigeria, it was the girlfriend of late Lord Lugard, a freelance journalist, late Flora Shaw, who suggested the name Nigeria. And the entire people, they embraced it. So they gave us name slaves. And you know the spiritual implication. The land, that name was not acceptable to the spirits of the land. So the energy did not align. So you're going further with it. These guys at the center who are holding on to this contraption with the help of Britain. You know, recently Prince Charles came also to renew it. He did a picture. They always disenfranchise or cut off the root, that is the Igbos and the. He went to Abuja, called the Sultan of Sokoto to sit on his right, the Oni of Ife to sit on his left, and he declared there's now going to be Northern Protectorate King and Southern Protectorate King, which Sultan will represent North and Oni will represent South, without the consent of Igbo kings. Yeah. It was witnessed when the Royal Chief Ambassador Lawrence, you know, he put there, he spoke truth to the authority, direct to their face. He humbled them, and they knew. So my brother, Mr. Mike Arnold, this contraption, what are we going to do to cut off this hand of these gangsters? Because they are bandits and they are using the influence. If you watch, first of all, they captured the army. Nigeria, that's why we call them Nigeria Egyptian army in the spiritual realm. Because if you watch the logo of Nigerian army, gold black star written with Arabic inscription. So little wonder people think they are the official army and Boko bandits Peninsula are the unofficial. So they work hand in hand and they get easy passage, easy access, and they are based on that oath of Egypt to say that their fathers gave us over to them and we are all considered ships to be unalived. So we are not separatists. The people are ready because I've done background checks. I speak Hausa very well. I know Hausas. 90% of Hausas, they feel like slaves, just like the Holy Igbos are feeling like slaves.
Exactly.
But that religious decide, that is the divide and rule, did not them, but now they are confessing, crying, but no one can hear their voice because those who are representing them are just like the Bola Ahmed, the tools in the hand. So we call them colonial slave manager. Now, our help must come. We are appealing to the world through you and to the international community to remember God and his ways and humanity that says that every drop of red water must be accountable. These people will never let us go because they kind of, I don't know. So we are appealing, how are we going to really get the support that we need, to mobilize the people? It's just about mobilizing the people because we have the shepherd's noise against these few that have taken my people bondage in this contraption. And if you ask them, they will tell you that Nigeria is an indivisible, it's non-negotiable because they are holding onto that road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to know how to go about it so that we can.
That's the right question.
Understand.
That's the right question, and it's not easy. Here's the practical reality. Again, most people on Earth couldn't place Nigeria on a map even today. Most lawmakers in the United States couldn't place Nigeria on a map even today. What they've heard of finally something broke through, and that is Nigerian Christian genocide, which is real. And even that's debated. They, talk about climate change and all that gobbledygook. But there is some attention being paid by the world and by the U.S. government, and it's a little bit, but it's something. Okay. Let me give you another practical point. I got on Fox News. I was on live primetime Laura Ingraham angle. And it took me all day. I had to travel to Austin. They sent a driver to pick me up, and I got my suit on and got a haircut and all that stuff. And got in the studio and mic'd up, and it was total of maybe 6 or 7 minutes. I wasn't the only guest. I asked 3 questions. I got to speak a total of maybe 6 sentences. What do you say in 6 sentences to make people move? That's what and it was about the Nigerian Christian genocide. You don't get there in 6 sentences on the Nigerian Christian genocide and say, oh, you need to separate this place. Oh, this place called Biafra, and the British did this, and blah, blah, blah. And on to the next. I don't get invited back, So practical reality is messaging. And the practical reality is being part of the solution to the problem. And the problem the world wants to solve, or at least Trump wants to solve, is the Nigerian Christian genocide. So how can your people be a key part of the solution to that problem? That's the real question. And saying we want out doesn't address the problem at all. It doesn't help anything. It leaves people next door to die. I understand you want out. I agree, and you should. But that message is not going to click in the world unless there's a reason for it. And what I believe is, again, be part of the solution. And part of the solution is we're standing with all these people. Again, they don't distinguish north, south, east, west, Biafra, and Sokoto. The world doesn't know. They see Nigerian Christian genocide. Trump's paying attention to that. He didn't say we're going to bring justice to that part of the world. We're going to bring freedom to the people. We're going to end the Nigerian Christian genocide. And if you want to surf that, you got the most powerful man on earth. As long as he's there for not much longer, you have his attention. And guess what? If he turns away and doesn't solve this problem, and it keeps going, there's no going back. It's going to get 10 times worse quickly because they realize they can get away with it. So you have a window of opportunity. The world wants to end the genocide. How can your movement be part of that solution in such a way that Trump wants to back it? That's the only, I'm distilling it down as practically as I possibly can. You get on TV talking about the genocide. You get asked 3 questions and you have 2 sentences to answer them. What's the message? The message is not, okay, we want out. That doesn't fly. Does that make sense? The message is we are a people group that's been oppressed by this government, but we are standing with our fellow Nigerians, because that's the language that the world understands. And we're going to help solve this problem by tearing down this evil stronghold and standing up with the downtrodden. And we're going to put a new regime in place that's going to ensure protection of all people groups, of all faiths, and peace and prosperity. And we're the people to make it happen. We're leading the way. That's how you get backing. That's how you get attention, and that's how you get support. It's a hard game. It's a tough, brutal world, okay? That's just the reality of it. You're not going to ever sit down with a talk show host on Fox News and have an hour and 27-minute conversation so that and I understand all this already, but to bring somebody to where you are, it's not going to happen ever. You have to go where they are and be part of the solution they're looking for. And your messaging has to line up with that. You have to be the solidarity movement. Right? Reagan wanted to end the evil empire, right? Trump is trying to end radical Islam and protect Christians, okay? How are you the solution? Be the solution and you'll get the backing.
Thank you very much. That takes us to the 2027 election. Nigeria is talking about 2027 election. We all know there have never been an election in Nigeria because the mandate of the people doesn't count. They have been doing it over and over again. So now they are ready to do it again. But like we usually say, house divided on its own never stands. So now there has been some incidents that could have brought the people together. God gave them the opportunity. In 2023, another mandate, exactly 30, that was snatched by this sitting president. He said to the people, power is not, just snatch the power and run away with it. And he showed it practically all the other way. And they announced him president because he knows it. And also November 20th, 2025, was another ample opportunity for the people to come together as one, because injustice against one is injustice against all. That was when they broke world judiciary record by sentencing a man to life imprisonment, and he's crying out and saying, show me the law. And they just say, no law, you have to go to life imprisonment. That they pity you, they would have hired you. And guess what? It was exactly 30 days that November, same 30 years again, that they hired the Saro Weaver just because they opened their mouth to ask for, better environment, because they are taking the late Sania Bacha unalive them before the eyes of the whole world. Now, November 20, Omotosho broke world judiciary record. The world, although they will say, yeah, United Nations say, even Kenya, all those things are regarded as design, because Kenya, as a sovereign nation, cannot tell me that they didn't know what happened in their soil before. It was still the same Kenya involved in the case of Ochalan, but I don't know. That is not there, but we are still maintaining the point. So Kenya is also saying Nigeria broke international law. British kept quiet. They used the Senator case to diffuse the tension and make the people better. And now they have perfected the crafty device to extend this slavery. What do you call it? The slave bond. So the 2027, what I'm saying about it now is this. Peter Obi has been a popular candidate. They believe his mandate was snatched in 2023. We call the people like him, but they don't listen to us because they think until you become very rich, all your voice can be heard. We called out to him, and another northern youth called out to him, called very dark man, called Sowore to come out that November 20 to protest for the freedom of Mazi. I think only Sowore came with Mazi's brothers and lawyers, and it was easy for the bandit government to tear gas them and take. Everybody kept quiet. The only statement he made was that they shouldn't have arrested him in the first place, but no real action. Now, the only time he deemed fit to react was when he saw or perceived that they have sailed the 2027 election at the National Assembly, because they didn't allow for real-time electronic transmission of results to give them a chance to do the normal thing. So he now perceived that the election had been rigged before, and he now came out of administration, aligning, and they tried to tear gas him with other. Yeah. Now, they are all coming together. What do you think about this Nigerian 2027 election? Is it just a jamboree, Does the world truly know these people are raping the masses? They don't allow, they snatch the mandate of, because vocally, verbally, everywhere, like I told you, 90% vice bill of Hausa people, they cry out and speak Hausa, they cry, but no one hears their voice. They say the only one representing them, both in our governors, just Fulanis, and they are accountable to the Sultan.
Yeah.
So you can, and that's how we are reaching out, begging that we should embrace them and forgive their mistake in 1804. So what is the American government? Because it's like, it's the only way you can wake them up is when you create international awareness, or when there is a rebuke from a personality like President Hitler. What can the American government do for us in this period? First, we have the opinion that there must be no election in Nigeria again until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is free.
Okay.
But now the people are deceived because they have been impoverished. They use just bread, and double their problem to make sure they have no strength to fight back.
Okay.
So what can America do for us? Because we know there's not going to be any election.
Yeah. So I have actually written a memo to President Trump. My message to him is that he can win his Nobel Prize without firing a shot. He can flip Nigeria without firing a shot if he will commit to ensuring a free and fair election. And it is precedented, it is possible. The way it's done, the international community with technology and with indigenous humanitarian groups, with training, with technology, with oversight and standards and accountability, runs a full and complete parallel simultaneous election. And then the world recognizes that one. That's been done in other countries. And it can be done for the cost of just a handful of Tomahawk missiles. So it's doable. And I think it would be a game changer. But why would Trump do that if there wasn't a movement or a candidate that represented a true change? I believe, and I speak this prophetically, that the man or the candidate, the person who champions the cause of the displaced, that's the real ticking time bomb. That's the real problem. Up to 10 million, 12 million Nigerians driven from their ancestral lands, denied by the government, living horrific lives with up to 60% chance of being radicalized by 2030. That's 5 to 6 million more jihadis in a few years without intervention. The Nigerian who stands up and makes that their cause and their passion, I believe will be the next president of Nigeria. Should a candidate emerge that does that and that makes their platform the new constitution, I believe that Trump would be prone to step in and ensure a free and fair election, whatever that looks like, no matter who needs to be taken out, no matter who needs to be bombed. And I believe that is a practical and doable thing. I've had 3 different, I won't name them, but 3 different very, very prominent, respected names in Nigeria, either themselves or their camps, reach out to me for my strategic support, the potential presidential candidates. I don't think anybody that's playing by the rigged rules, that submits to the broken system, that wants to try to bring about change incrementally from within, I don't think that person will ever get anywhere. I think there needs to be a credible, righteous, passionate, eligible, godly leader arise that champions the displaced passionately and that runs on the platform of a new constitution. And I believe that if that were to occur, I think there's a good chance that the world will help that happen. There's a lot Trump could do. I'm speculating here, but it makes a lot of sense. For example, we know that there's something like 2,500 pages of DEA documents pertaining to your thug crime boss president that have been ordered released by a federal judge in the United States that have not been released. They're being held on to for a reason. I suspect that reason is it is leverage that Trump, who's no fool, has that wrapped around Tinubu's neck to get him to cooperate. Because there's no other blueprint for another building, and he's going to leave that. He's going to work with what's there. But should there be an opposition leader with a movement, with a mandate, with a vision that emerges, he'll use those same 2,500 pages and shove it down that guy's throat. I think that's how Trump does things. He's no fool. He knows how to play the game. I think Trump could do to Tinubu what Obama did to Jonathan, but do it righteously. There can be,
exactly.
It can happen. Okay. But again, it starts with what? It starts with the movement. It starts with a vision. It starts with a mandate. It starts with an alternative. It starts with a solution. Be part of the solution. Offer a solution. Don't just complain. Offer a solution that works, that achieves his goals, and he'll back the solution. I mean, it makes sense to me. And there's time to do it. But it's now.
The problem we have to be candidates is like we said, it's like a snake in a green grass with the pairing with the Kwankwaso. You know Kwankwaso from Kano State. Kwankwaso, I think America know well about him. He was one of the one who championed the Sharia law in 12 states of the North, and he commands a whole lot of followership. So we have to cure this problem once and for all by, first of all, removing everything religion, it's humanity first to achieve the kingdom. So we regard the ticket with Kwankwaso as like snake in grass because of that Sharia syndrome. Because Sharia, like the champion once said, his dream was to establish Sharia in Europe. And Sharia is that theology that goes directly against the natural law. We say every drop of human red water must. And that is the ideology that's eating up our society in the name of religion. So how do we solve this problem? Because we feel it's like, putting the old wine in a new bottle.
Yes. I'm sorry.
You understand the point, right?
No, I'm sorry. You chopped up there. I had a network error again.
You see, the partnership of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso as the vice president is considered as like a snake in a grass with the presence of Kwankwaso, because Kwankwaso was the champion of Sharia law.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
In the 12 states of the North. You understand? So we feel like it's putting the old wine in a new bottle. How do we go about this problem?
A problem cannot be solved from the same consciousness that created it.
Yes.
If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. You can't step into a system, a constitution that mentions Sharia in Islamic terms 165 times and not one Christian reference, that's rigged for perpetual northern control. The whole government is gerrymandered, is what we call it here, to ensure northern control. There's a caliphate. The British downgraded the title of the caliphate, but if you look at it from the spiritual perspective, it's still a caliphate in every way, except for the English terminology used to describe it. You can't keep that intact and step into it and expect to have any effect of changing it. Here's the reality. There is no country, no place, no community on earth since Muhammad walked this planet that his ideology hasn't taken root and been stopped without a war. You cannot find one place on earth where Muslim conquest, Islamic conquest, has been stopped without a war. I believe it's possible, and I believe Nigeria can show how, but not by playing their own game. It never has worked. It never will work. It cannot work because the ideology, if you go back to the foundational documents, if you go back to the programming of what is Sharia, what is Islam, it is incompatible with cooperation with other groups. It doesn't allow it. It allows manipulating other groups, co-opting other groups, extracting from other groups, but never partnering with them, never yielding to them. It's against their religion. Period. So to step into a system that they have controlled and jerry-rigged with British backing from the very beginning, which has this illusion of secularity, that's all it is. It's an intentional taqiyya state. It's an illusion of secularity. To try to work within that, to change it, is a fool's errand. It has to be torn down and rebuilt in a righteous, godly, uplifting, positive way. And it's doable. If you do it, it'll be the first time in history it's been done. Otherwise, you better be beating your plowshares into swords, because that's the only other way you're going to stop it. And if I talked to a fellow the other day from the South, and he was proud that, oh, they're never going to ransack our community. They, some insurgents tried to come in one time and we beat them off, so we're okay. I said, first of all, you're in the South. Okay, don't try to compare yourself to Ngoshe. I said, but the people of Ngoshe, they could have thought the same thing. But if their neighbors don't stand with them, they're never going to survive. And if you just say it's just about me and my backyard and I'm going to defend my turf, and they come from there, and then they come there, and they come there, but it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. By the time it's you, there's nobody else left to stand with you. If you have the ability to defend your community, then go help defend their community. That's how it works. But this divide, I mean, this division that's rampant is, and if you play within the dividing, if you stay divided, there's no one that's going to stand for you when it's your turn to fall. Sorry, you need to learn to stand together. You need to have a vision. You need to have a shared future and a shared values and they exist. They exist. You can find even the most radical Fulani you can find. And if you really tried, you could find a lot of common ground. It's just people don't try.
Okay. Like the proverb goes, he said, achieve the kingdom, every other thing added to it. Now, we want to, or we are thinking about supporting or coming in solidarity, in alliance with Omoyele Sowore with his revolution now. It's not about election now, but revolution now, to embrace German version of peaceful revolution that restored Bundesrepublik of Deutschland Day, and they embraced Grundgesetz, that is humanity first, and they gave freedom to the regions. That is how, and that is exactly the same system United Kingdom, Britain is practicing, and I think it's the same system practiced in America. But they refuse us and they force us to remain under this contraption they forced us to be. So what do you think about it, that we are in solidarity with Omoyele Sowore with the revolution now, taking the first step by demanding people to come out in mass through a Monday, because that it's a spirit that put the Monday sit at home for us. It's not about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and you have no right to tell us to stop because we are like people who are bereaved. You don't leave your bereaved person at home and go to market. So Monday movement, if we support Omoyele Sowore with revolution now, I think we are going to get, because Mazi Nnamdi can be the first step. Injustice against what? Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because it's an injustice glaring to the eyes of the entire unit. If we use it as a case study, one step first, mobilize both north, south, east, and west to come out in mass every Monday to demand that this Commander-in-Chief Central SED, Social Act, because that is exactly what they're achieving in Nigeria now. They have succeeded with the hook of corruption to convert almost the whole 6 state governors to rig the election for him in 2027. So the best, and they already concluded their national assembly, best option for us is to align with or partner with Omoyele Sowore to achieve the kingdom before every other thing will be added to it. What do you think about it?
I don't, believe it or not, I'm not an expert on Nigerian politics. I'm not. There's so many twists and turns and dramas and soap operas and such. I cannot answer that with any real basis in any depth of understanding. So yeah, I can't answer that without with any credible answer. I don't know. I'm not. I only speak where I feel that I have grounding, and I would just be speculating, and I don't like doing that.
So, okay, that is by the way. I think.
Then what about Nnamdi Kanu?
So far so good.
Let me speak on Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay, talk. Go ahead.
I've been outspoken about demanding the release of Nnamdi Kanu. The problem, well, there's a few. First of all, I don't know if you saw the other day where Sheikh Gumi said, "Oh, if you do this, we'll release Kanu." Is he saying that it's not the government that has him locked up, but it's the imams? I think that's what he's saying, is it not? If Sheikh Gumi can have him released, it goes to the heart of what the real problem is. But how can I say this politely? The same people that are out there demanding for his release are wearing the Biafran secession T-shirts at the same time. He's seen as one and the same with secession. So if you want him supported, then you're in favor of secession. And that's a liability for his cause. His cause, take out any political attachment. His cause is a clear-cut case of tyranny and injustice. And it must be addressed. There is no justice in Nigeria as long as he is locked up. It has nothing to do with what he stands for. It has nothing to do with what he advocates, but it has to do with justice. And that is why I think it's a winning issue, and it must be pushed. But to say it, release Kanu and let us secede, it makes people close the door and not pay attention. So let me say this. I've been, and a lot of people for many years have been screaming about the Nigerian Christian genocide, and nobody paid attention. Do you know what it is that got the world to finally pay attention? One thing, one person. A radical left-wing atheist, one that's hostile to Christianity, a guy named Bill Maher, unlikable character. For a Christian person, he mocks Christians and Christianity and faith in general. But he came out and said they must end the Nigerian Christian genocide. And that's when it became a cause. If it was just Christians yelling about it, they were never going to pay attention. So when you find somebody on the other side, somebody that's against separation, that is not an Igbo, not from the South, but somebody else stands up and says, this is injustice and it must stop, that's when people will start to pay attention. Because right now it just seems like a separatist thing. It's not, you know it's not, I know it's not. It's a justice thing, but it seems that way. But if I do ever have a chance to get into the Oval Office, I will certainly bring it up. And when I'm in interviews, I bring it up in the same context as I bring up the story of Deborah Samuel, the girl that was burned alive for saying Jesus is the greatest. It's an example of impunity and injustice in this contraption called Nigeria. I don't bring it up in the context of Biafra because that hurts his cause. In the world, I'm just talking the practical reality of the world, at least the United States. So his is an issue of justice. It's an indictment of the Nigerian system, and it must be remedied. But sometimes those people advocating for him are the worst enemy of the cause because the door is slammed on him before his name ever comes out of their mouth. That's just what I've observed.
Quite interesting because it's the height of injustice glaring to the whole world. Now, in a nation where not 1 year, not 5 years, not 10 years, not 15, not 20, it has been ongoing. This so-called Christian genocide, not so-called. I used to be in the north. I experienced this. They just changed the patterns. Formerly, it was always a religious riot. When two children fight in the school dormitory, hostel, they come to the street and unalive mainly the Christian populace. So now, the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the world knows is a total height of injustice. Now, we are trying to think about one voice that should stand truly for this man. But I don't know how, and because people have tried now. You see, you remember November 20th, the last time was 1 million march in Abia State, his home state. Now, I was of the opinion that we make it national, this awareness, but I borrowed some leave with your PowerPoints here because we have to come on a neutral ground, not on the ground of give us Biafra or just for the interest of Biafra, but uphold that injustice. So the awareness is what we are dreaming to create this awareness. What advice can you give us more to bring up the awareness that really make the nation stand up for this injustice? Because that is going to be finally our, once it happens and succeed with him, then we continue with this contraction. It is now normal that we have become forever slaves in land our fathers for our hearing. So what can you advise us to do more to create awareness that will make the people understand that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's injustice is a case study of the injustice, because everybody is perceiving injustice. Benues are perceiving injustice, Plateau injustice, Hausans crying out for justice.
Good.
They are crying out for peace. But
very good question.
They don't have equal rights. This injustice is affecting all of them.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us to do more so that we can gain the attention and support of people like President Trump to make us come through to get justice?
There's a principle that I've observed and I've lived, and that is people don't care what you know till they know that you care. And Kanu is a gross injustice of the Nigerian system, and it's one that strikes very close to home for you. There are other gross injustices of the Nigerian system that strike close to home to other people. And if all you talk about is those that are important to you, and you don't address those that are important to other people, why should they care about yours? Again, I bring it up in the same context as Deborah Samuel. Gross injustice, gross impunity. I bring it up in the context of the government rehabilitating Boko Haram members while denying the displaced. That's a gross injustice. Nnamdi Kanu was, illegally rendered from Kenya for something he said on a podcast in London, and then convicted under a law that didn't exist. That's a gross injustice. But if you only you expect people to come to you and talk about your injustice, you better. I think the first step is to go to them and help and talk about theirs. Let's all stand together against injustice, not just mine. It's that unity thing. It's that reaching out. It's that understanding. It's that finding common ground, I think, is the key. And separate it rhetorically from the cause of separation. There's another thing I do that I think is important. I say it very clearly. The words that they used against him when he called for violence, I wasn't in his shoes. I can't say I wouldn't have gone with him at the time, but I don't support those words he spoke. I support his right to say them, especially since nothing was traced to it. What's the problem is the lawlessness. If they can put him in jail for life, they can put anybody in jail for life, including you and including me. I don't make people agree with the words he spoke, because a lot of people don't agree with them. Again, they don't understand the context and all that stuff. I'm not saying he was wrong. I'm saying on paper it's hard to read those words and say you defend them. I mean, it is. Again, so make it about the legal injustice and make it a universal injustice that all Nigerians should be concerned about. Separate it from your own cause and show concern for their injustices too at the same time. First, yes, I understand Deborah Samuel. It's a horrible injustice, and there needs to be, it needs to be set right. And this is an indictment of the system, and so is Nnamdi Kanu. Then you have common ground, but don't expect them to come to you and support your cause if you don't just as passionately. Do unto others. How about that? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Help stand up against their injustice, and they'll help you stand up against yours.
A very, very great time with you, Mr. Mike Arnold. Very, very wonderful time. It's my pleasure meeting your personality today. I'm so happy, and I've learned also a lot. But now, referring to the global situation, because the whole extremism and that ideology is taking global stage. Then we'll also talk about President Trump and go direct point, source of problem. So he never means word. Now that the whole attention is on Iran. Meanwhile, he came on the 25th of December to knock on the door of the root of our problem. Because that is the root, that is where the headquarters of unofficial Occupant the SWAP army is gathered there in Sokoto. And that man there, the Sultan, is the one who commands. Then he tells the people to bring mass direct to Sokoto for him. Now, after that knocking on the door for the terrorists, they all started. We had a breath, sigh of relief. They are no longer, all the recruited soldiers are no longer forceful in annihilating us like before. You know, they pay them to do this job. Somebody like this, what do you call it, Asari Dokubo. These are the tools they are using for all those missions. There's one other guy from Igbo land, from Olo, they call Udene. So, but immediately after the 25th bombing at Sokoto, all of them started searching for a hiding place. But now, since then, they ran attention. Then my people are saying Trump have forgotten us. And those forces, they are not hiding. You understand me? They consider us like chicken or rats. You can bear witness. I'm happy because on your website, you took that stress issue because you have the human conscience and that humanity one for all spirit. This is why you leave your people to go and see for yourself. Then our leaders are busy pushing narrative that there's no ongoing genocide. Meanwhile, they tied our hands. Apart from tying our hands, I can assure you that the Igbo nation, there's no other in that region of Africa. If allowed, no other force easily defeat us like that or annihilate us. But now, under that contraption, under that commander-in-chief power, that gave these few wicked jackals our life to do whatever they like with it. And they hardened their hearts like Pharaoh. So the whole attention is on Iran. What do you think? How soon can Trump again turn his attention to us? Because these men are no conscience. He went already back to Britain. And the day he was going to Britain, 3 bomb explosions happened in These are life of innocent people, poor masses. And no one can speak for them. It's like nothing happened. So how soon are we getting attention again? Because it's only attention of a higher power that when it comes, these wicked forces try to double it and humble themselves.
Great question. First and foremost, I don't know the answer. And the reality is, and most, how can I put this? You're enlightened and you're educated, but most Nigerians I speak to seem to think that Trump is a president in the same way that Tinubu is the president. Tinubu doesn't care about the Senate. They're rubber stamp. He doesn't care about the courts. He tells them what to do. He just does what he wants. Trump does honor the rule of law. I mean, he has to do what he can do legally and constitutionally. If you look underneath the Maduro thing, it wasn't Trump just saying, go get the guy. There was actually a court case that was built over time, and there was a judgment for his arrest. There was an arrest warrant, and Trump served that. It wasn't a dictatorial thing. It was a democratic thing that took time. Now, Trump does it with boldness and he does it aggressively. Yes, but Trump can't just go off on his own and do whatever he wants to do. That's the reality of it. There are midterm elections coming up. And if Trump, if his party loses that, he's going to be a lot more limited in what he's able to do. So his ability to do something aggressively is, we know it exists now, but we don't know that it's going to exist next year. It might, but it might not. So that's one thing. Second of all, you're right. Iran is more of an entanglement than I think he thought it would be. And he has to see it through. He's already started that. Will he turn his attention back to Nigeria? That's a good question. I don't know the answer. I know there's a $10 million plus, when you add up all the contracts, lobby campaign. And I know they've hired all the right lobbyists. And I know that even his special envoy, his daughter's father-in-law to Africa, Masad Boulous, is a longtime crony of President Tinubu. I know that the congressman he assigned to look into this, Riley Moore, is stated more than once that he's happy to be working with the Nigerian government. I'm sorry, how foolish could a person be? Just like working with the Nazis to end the Holocaust. So I'm concerned. I was just having this conversation yesterday with somebody who potentially has access. I'm right around the edges of the Oval Office. God's gotten me there. My concern is he's getting bad input and that he is running out of time. And so two things. First, the question is, and this is what every Nigerian must grapple with and have an answer to, what happens if Trump loses office? What happens if he dies tomorrow? What happens if he leaves office without addressing this? What happens if somebody like Biden or Obama caused this? There would be no genocide and displacement in Nigeria today if it weren't for President Barack Obama unleashing it. What happens if somebody like that gets back in office? Are you just going to quit? Or you say, oh, well, we tried to go ahead and kill us all? See, that's sort of the point. You have to have a movement. You have to be determined. And if you do have a movement, you are determined, that will get Trump's attention. Again, be part of the solution. If there's the most successful people I know, their philosophy is this: push the easy button. What's the easiest, most strategic way to accomplish my goal? And if you're not part of that soon, I don't think you're going to get it addressed. You have to be part of the solution. You have to be the most obvious solution and the easiest solution. And I believe that easiest solution is if there's a movement like Solidarity was in Poland that reaches across tribe, across regions for a vision of a new, I call it a new Nigeria, and it might be a new collection of countries that used to be Nigeria, whatever. There has to be a vision that's compelling and that is workable and that's doable and that's widespread. And then Trump has an easy button. He can flip it without firing a shot. But without that, if there's not a blueprint for a new building, he has to work with the old building. And that's what they're doing. There's no alternative for him. What would happen if he said, I'm not going to work with the Nigerian government, I'm just going to do this myself? It's a non-starter. Unless there's an alternative. And that alternative is not let us go. That doesn't address the problem he's concerned about, does it? So there has to be an alternative. It has to be compelling. It has to be unifying. And it has to be now. Or you better figure out how to do it without him.
A lot of people believe that since the wife of President Tinubu, I think Remi Tinubu, right? Yeah. The first lady of Nigeria, since she went to American prayer breakfast to buy some airtime, I think she bought some airtime. Most people believe, they lobbied with several millions to buy that airtime. Oh, yeah. You remember where Trump recognized the well-respected pastor, the first lady of pastor of the highest church auditorium in the world. That sounds, it shows people without conscience. This pastor would not go to Yelwater. And the anointing that the GO never been to Yelwater, the GO of the highest church auditorium. You see how they are mocking God. And she went to American breakfast. And since that incident, most people believe that it watered down the zeal and passion President DJ Trump had to come for this divine intervention. I believe we are doing the work of God. Do you think something happened that contributed to him subpedaling. Because at the same time, Gumi, who is a direct, what do you call it, threat to America, because it was linked up with if I'm not mistaken. So Gumi coerced him to go to talk. Say, why do you go to America? Why not China or Pakistan? They are partners in crime, annihilating us. So, but President Tinubu chose to go to Edoga in Turkey to renew that contract, and then sent his wife to come up to water down America. Yeah. So, do you think, like my people are thinking, that the zeal from for this divine intervention, because this is a godly mission? So, does it succeed in watering down this? His passion?
Well, probably. Now, first of all, I know as a fact that Mrs. Tinubu and her team wanted a platform at that same conference and were denied that. So they were shut down. But here's the reality. Again, Trump has no alternative but to work with the Nigerian government unless he's going to bomb them and Maduro them, but without an alternative, he's not going to do that. He has to work with them as long as there's no alternative, I think. So that's one thing. Also, I don't care who it is. If a nation sends their first lady to go somewhere and the president is there, he's going to say hi. He's going to say, I'd like to recognize. And he uses flowery language for everybody he talks about. My gosh. Would you expect him to insult her? I think it was just a formality. And the people who were there tell me it was clearly just a formality. Of course, they fanned the flames and said it was this great thing, but they didn't say the fact that she wanted to speak and was denied the opportunity. And so the president waved at her and said hi, because she's the first lady of the 6th largest nation on earth. I mean, come on. I don't think that was a great glowing tribute and honor to this woman of integrity. It was a formality to the first lady of the 6th largest nation on earth, who happened to be in the same room with him. So, I mean,
okay, lastly,
it is what it is. And I have to say, I do have to wrap this up.
Okay.
Yeah, Okute around the
yes.
just let you know.
Lastly, this is my last question. It's about your friend Reno Mokri.
He was a friendly acquaintance. I would never have called him a friend. He was a friendly acquaintance. There's a difference.
Okay. Reno Mokri is a prodigal son. I've been watching. I don't know what happened to the brain of that young man. It's like a cut-off branch from his root. So, but then it brings us to who Bat is. I see from the spirit realm, Bat sitting on the mantle of Balak.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, Okute, your network was shaking. It's like somebody called you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, we're hearing you loud. Better.
Okay. So
make it snap.
Bat is with the mantle of Balak, biblical Balak, with the princes of Moab and the ancestors of the land. All his passion is for the prophets like Balaam to build altars, to cause the spiritual Israelites to weaken them. In this case, I have always referenced to bondage Nigeria, spiritual Egypt, and Biafra as the spiritual Israel, a covenant act moving to the promised land. So he summons and he chooses everybody who is willing, like Balaam, to cause the spiritual, to be against the Igbos. That's why if you check all his government, you believe the Igbos are the only challenge he's going to have in his presidency of the king. So that's why he also chose Reno Omokri, who has been one of his and Ren Omokri called him a criminal, that he have evidence. Ren Omokri went to the old university in America to dig out all his criminal records and was shouting. I was very, very surprised how a man can bend down and take his own salary and split out. Now he's choosing to be the Nigerian ambassador to Mexico, the headquarters of where this, I don't know, it's part of where this is it trying to, and how do you see that appointment? How do you see, because all is similar people he appoints, like Fanny Kaede, these are cut-off branches. Fanny Kaede is blessed through the Igbo gene, just like Bola Ahmed.
Yeah.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his son, Seyi, is married to Igbo. So his grandchildren, Igbos already inherited, yet it's against the Igbos. Femi Fani Kayode, God bless him with a quadruplet from the womb of an Igbo woman. Yet this man, on account of Jesus porridge, is ready to betray and take his life. So now, Reno Omokri, your friend, what do you see about him and his appointment as a Mexico ambassador to Nigeria? What impact does that make?
Well, so I reached out to him in December of 2023 in my ongoing research, try to understand what's going on in Nigeria, to my friends, and how to help stop it. And he had written a book on the Jonathan administration. I had some questions. I didn't know anything about him other than that he was the author of this book. And I reached out on that basis through an online contact form. He responded immediately, and still all I knew was that he wrote this book. And on that first contact, he reached out, we had a conversation, and he invited me to his birthday in Kenya in January of 2024, and he offered to pay my way. That was a month later, and I had no idea. I didn't know if they were planning to kill me, because I was trying to expose the truth. I don't know, but I felt like I should go, and I went and met a lot of amazing, good people there. And they were all sort of there for the same reasons. They were invited for a free safari, and they were going to hang out with these other people. And all the ones I've talked to since then, they weren't there for him. They don't like the guy, but hey, it's a free safari. Why not? But it was during that trip that I invited him to come visit me in my hometown. Only the right thing to do, right? I mean, it's hospitality. It's, you invite me, I invite you. And he came, and but the whole basis of the relationship for me was to help raise awareness. Again, nobody was talking about it at the time. Raise awareness about the Nigerian Christian genocide. He had been a champion talking about that. And that's why I reached out. Over time, I saw that I felt that he was sort of grooming me as a PR asset. And he puffed me up as this great mayor of Texas and all this stuff. Yeah, I'd served as a mayor for 2 years of a very small town, a volunteer job. Okay. But I was elected to it, but he puffed it up and puffed it up. And I figured he would want to use that someday. I just didn't know how. Never asked me to compromise my principles until the press conference, and I didn't. But I got a lot of mileage out of it. He opened a lot of doors, got me meetings with a lot of people, and I learned a lot. He helped me down my journey. It was in September of last year that I was drinking coffee, reading my Facebook, and almost spit up my coffee when I saw they're calling the genocide a hoax. Like, what on earth? And I recalled that he had gone to visit President Tinubu. And then after that, every time I asked him, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? He said, wait until I come into my kingdom. Wait until I get what's due to me. Wait until I get my position. He'd been offered a job. And he was going to, and that happens, and then I can do all this great stuff. And I figured it out pretty quick. He had sold his soul. This guy's a prostitute. And that's when he invited me, oh, please come and do this press conference. And you know it from there. But he's just a whore. He's a shameless, spineless, self-serving leech that'll suck himself on to anybody with power and money and become anything that they want him to be. And he'll do it to get all that he can out of them. And, you know, I finally saw it. And God used me, and he used that journey. He used that path. Look what he did. You know, that October 14th press conference is what changed everything. I'm told in Washington, that's what got Trump involved, is that not the press conference itself, but the fact that it flipped the narrative globally within 72 hours, over 3 billion impressions globally in 72 hours. So God used Omokri. What man intends for evil, God uses for good. Omokri intended all that to deny the genocide and do evil, and God used it for great good. But he was never a friend. We were acquaintances, and I thought we were moving the same direction, that I was researching the genocide. He knew that was my purpose. He helped me do that until it wasn't convenient for him anymore. But he's a soulless scumbag, the shambassador. He's an example of everything that's wrong with Nigeria. And I believe his children will change their name out of shame because he's such a scumbag. He didn't go to his own father's funeral or acknowledge his own father's death, and I don't think his children will acknowledge him in their life because of it. He's a horrible, horrible human being, and the example of everything that's wrong with Nigeria. He is the pinnacle Nigeria scammer that the world talks about. That's Reno, the shambassador, scumbag, filthy worm, prostitute Omokri. How about that? That clear enough?
Oh yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Arnold.
Thank you.
I must tell you from the bottom of my heart is blessing you, because you see, and God is blessing you the most, because he said the harvest is plentiful, the workers are few, and whosoever amongst humanity affairs himself with the spirit of one for all for one. And believe me, your account is counted, it's recorded for you in righteousness. And said, of the generation of the righteous, there shall be no end. May the good Lord continue to grant your heart desire. With this your passion, you leave your comfort zone, you showed concern, you feel like us, you feel our pains. I thank you immensely for that. And I will use this opportunity to invite you. We have a foundation in Hamburg. It's called New Rangers. New Rangers is the umbrella that unites Africa. It's a Pan-African sport and culture club in Hamburg. And they are going to host the second edition of African Nations Cup, Hamburg International. That's sometime in July.
Okay.
So we are going to bring out the graphics, the flyers, and we share the awareness. We are specially inviting you as a very special guest of honor.
Oh, fantastic.
Because our media officer here can hear me witness. We achieved it last year. The tournament was hosted in 3 stadiums. And the finals was July. Well,
wow.
The Ghana Black Stars came first. Someone came second. And then Guinea Conakry third. And goes came out. And for the first time, I was so marveled seeing the whole African generations from different tribes come together, to chorus the slogan under New Rangers: one for all for one, Eine for alle, alle for alle. And that is the spirit with which God created us in his image and likeness. And whosoever hold that spirit is one with God. And that is what you are.
Amen.
Mr. Mike Arnold. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being our guest today. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this. In Christ there is no Jew or Greek or slave or free. In Christ there is no Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, or Fulani.
Christ is for all.
We're one family. And we should honor and be grateful and thankful and celebrate our heritage and our tribe. Absolutely. I'm proud to be an adopted Igbo.
Wow.
That I don't use that to look down on anybody else or throw stones at anybody else, because in Christ we are one. So let's stand as one, and we will win as one.
Amen. Amen.
You know, I'm a kingmaker, and I'm sure I'm going to use my capacity to make sure we bring you to Enugu. Call Enugu, Jerusalem. We bring you home and give you a title befitting to a noble man. Remember this, Mr. Mike.
Thank you.
Remember this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And we are expected that any other day we call you. You are going to come and join us and make that day to become like today.
I look forward to it. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace and love. Peace. And one love. Peace. One love. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. With the Igbo niile.
Ofu Obi ndị Africa. Ọkwa gụa bụ Ofu Obi. Obinwannem ịkpọkọgo altar. We are rebuilding the devastated altar. Let's keep it up.
No problem. No problem. No
We
problem.
share it, we create the awareness. We stand in the gap for the people.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Cleanness of heart.
Thank
Incorruptible.
you, nah, at all. One love. One love.
One love.
Yeah. Hey, Odana. Adago ka ọ ga-ada. Ụmụ Igbo ndị ọma na-ege m ntị. Ana m asị nke onye chiri ya zere. Ọ dịkwa akwụkwọ dị. Ọ kakwa mmụọ nwanne unu nwoke Ugwu Okechukwu Obinwanne nke ndị Igbo. Ife anyị na-eme na platfọm a bụ anyị na-ebute udo, anyị na-ebute ịhụnanya, anyị na-ebute ọganiru, anyị na-ebute nghọta, na-ebutekwa nkụzi. So ana m asị na ọ bụrụ na ị na-esonyere anyị ka ị na-esonyere anyị n'obi nwanne, ị mara ife ị ga-emere ụmụnne gị osetikwa, ị mara enyemaka ị ga-enyere ụmụnne gị osetikwa. Biafra abụrụkwa ọgụ na mgba, kwuru nụchara ya. Biafra abụrụkwa ka abịa na-eti mkpu na soshal midia. Ka anyị jiri nụ nwayọọ na-alacha ofe adị ọkụ. Onye mejọrọ si ya agbaghara, nkwuje agago, maka na Okechukwu ugwu abago na another level. Ka anyị butebezie ndị ahụ ga na-akụziri anyị ihe bụ reality, ka anyị na-amụta. Ama m na program tata o nwere ife o chenjiri unu n'ime, ndị ga-egekwanye ya na ọ bụ na anyị mechie. Amasị unu na-egekwa ya ka unu were obi nwanne na-ege ya. Onye gburu nwanne ya abụrụkwa odogwu. Onye gburu nwanne ya ọ bụrụkwa odogwu. Onye gburu nwanne ya ọ bụrụkwa odogwu. Onye wekwa n'oke nwanne ya tinye na nke ya ka nke ya wee baa ụba, ọ bụrụkwa ezigbo nwa, ọ bụrụkwa ezigbo mmadụ, ọ bụkwa ajọ ife. Onye fụrụ ebe nwanne ya na-eme ife ọma, ma anya ka ọ fụrụ ya, ọ bụkwa ekworo n'anya ukwu, ọkwa ekworo n'anya ukwu, ọkwa ekworo n'anya ukwu. Ịfụ n'ebe nwanne gị na-eme ife ọfụma, kaba n'ahụ kenee ya, jaa ya mma, udo wee dị. Ana m asị ebe ọbụla isi wee na-ege m ntị n'onu, ya gaziere unu, gazikwakwara unu ọzọ n'ụbọchị tata bụ ụbọchị Nkwo Ikuku, ụbọchị nji echeta nne m nwanyị Nkwo. A sị m ka o si ụta wee dịrị wee na-aga ebe ọbụla ị nọ na-esonyere anyị, maka na ihe anyị ga na-ebutere gị bụ ife ga-eme ka ndụ gị tụgharịa, ka ị bụrụkwa mmadụ. Ọ bụrụ Ebuka Obi ọsị ka anyị pịachasịa gị, ka anyị pịachasịa gị. O so na-atụsakwa n'ozi a ka ọ na-ejete aka. Ndewokwanụ ụmụnne m, ka ọ dịkwanụ otu a mgbe ọzọ.
No, 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 no. of amber, across the deep blue sea. A message for the children, for you and for me. Obinwannem is calling, can you hear the sound? The roots of our fathers are being found. We know they forget where we come from. The strength of a lion, the beat of the drum. Ofu Obi, one heart. Obinwannem united we achieve. Ofu Obi, restoring the culture, that's what we believe. From the Ordinala to the Azusu we speak, lifting the fallen, helping the weak. Obi-Wannem worldwide, the movement is here. Umoibo global, raise your head high, raise your head high. Our Menala will never, ever die, ever die. It's more than a page, it's a spiritual home. No matter how far in this world you roam, we're bringing back the wisdom, the tradition, the grace, putting the smile back on the Igbo face. A high energy. Please. Obi-Wannem, 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 Didigo, Obi-Wannem, in every land, Obi-Wannem, protect the culture, it's in our hands. Follow the light, follow the way. Obinwannem is leading the day. Keep the fire burning, keep the language strong. This is where we all belong.
Again, you phase out with a final celebration.
Obinwannem Global Radio, promoting the culture and traditions of Igbo nation.
I am the managing director of Owix and Obix Nigerian Limited. For years, I have worked hard to secure a $64 million international contract. A deal that would have changed not just my life, but created opportunities for many Nigerians. The contract was signed and the funds secured by LC were sent through Zenith Bank, Nigerian PLC, after an agreement between my company and Zenith Bank as a paymaster for the guaranteed contract. But shortly after the secured funds arrived, the unexpected happened. The bank began to make new financial demands that were never part of our original agreement. When I refused to grant those demands, everything changed. The contract, which had a strict liability clause, was suddenly terminated by breach of LC confirmation by Zenith Bank after receiving payments which it deducted from the company account. It refused to confirm, and funds belonging to the company, which was entrusted to the bank, suddenly disappeared, unaccounted for, and years of effort collapsed overnight, automatically activating the liability clause of the contract. I have reached out privately for resolution. I have contacted lawyers, human rights advocates, and even the authorities, but no one has been willing to take this matter seriously. So I am speaking out today, not just for myself, but for every Nigerian who has ever been silenced by a systematic justice system, by powerful institutions, where all they wanted was fairness and justice. I don't seek pity. I seek accountability. I believe that the truth deserves to be heard, and I'll continue to speak up until justice is done. In a series of upcoming videos, I will present clear and undeniable evidence of what transpired.
Ụmụ Igbo, ọ bụrụ na ị na-ege anyị ntị n'onu ma na-ekiri ozi ọma nke anyị na-ewetara unu na ozi ndụmọdụ na ịgbazi onu nke anyị na-ewetara unu, biko ka ị na-esonyere anyị na YouTube, na-esonyekwara anyị na Instagram maọbụ na Twitter maọbụ na Facebook na webụsaịtị nke ndị Obinwanne m, ka anyị wee na-ezinye abụ ozi ka o si wee kwesị dị na-adị, maka na oge erugo mgbe anyị ga-ebupụta ihe nke njirimara Igbo na asụsụ Igbo na omenala Igbo na ihe gbasara ndị Igbo niile n'ụwa niile, ọkacha ihe anyị na-achọ bụ Biafra. Ị ga na-afụkwanye abụ ozi ka ọ ga na-abịa. Ị na-esonyere anyị, ị ga na-ama mgbe anyị tụpụtara gị ozi nke dị mkpa, ị ya mara ma wee marakwa ị ga-eme ngwa ngwa ka emeghara ọdachi.